It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Tuesday, May 23rd, and so happy for you joining us today. And we are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So we have a very exciting podcast for you today. We have Provi in the media, the practical word study, and of course, commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And everyone, how was your Monday? For us over here in Canada, Monday was Victoria Day, so it was a holiday. For me, it doesn't really change much because I do the same things regardless if it's a holiday or not. I don't take a holiday for these podcasts or anything else. So for me, it's a regular day, but my parents were off, my brother's off, everyone was having, their whatever people do on Victoria holidays. I have no idea because I haven't had Victoria holiday in like 20 years, so... yeah, that was kind of my day yesterday. For you guys out there, if you haven't yet, go ahead and leave some likes and comments to build our community. Really happy for everyone joining us every weekday and on the weekends now on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. So yes, it was Victoria Day, and people who don't know what Victoria Day is, everyone in the Commonwealth should know Victoria Day. Right, so if you're in like Malaysia, in South Africa, right, in England, Canada, different parts of the world, you're going to have Victoria Day, which is Queen Victoria, one of the old monarchs, her birthday. So it's a commemoration day, and it's a statutory holiday for everyone. So it was, like I said, nothing really different for me. The only thing that was cool for me is that no one's on the road driving. It was just quiet. No one goes on vacation. It's just quiet on the roads, right? So I went to the gym, did all the stuff that I wanted to do, a little bit more quieter, but ultimately my day is still the same. I don't know about you guys, what you guys do on holidays, but I don't really do anything different. Man Cave came out yesterday. I'm glad that people are gaining from these conversations too. It was good to see Daniel Baker. You get to see his face, right? Him coming out on the Man Cave also, even though he's still a wee little lad, right? He's not a boy. He's a man. No, he's 17. I don't know. For me, being my age right now and thinking about someone who's 17, I still think they're a boy. Just in my opinion. But yet his opinions are very, very, very good to hear coming from people of his generation stuff too. So go ahead and check out the Man Cave. And like I'm saying, the one thing I love about like Provi Puff and Man Cave, it kind of opens the doors for more conversations, and I think it's really important for discussions and to open our minds to different thoughts that we may have been having, but we just couldn't say it. But I'm glad that we can talk about some points that we've all been kind of thinking about too. Right, so keep writing your comments. Would love to hear what you guys think about the Man Cave yesterday. Remember, today, Love and Life, episode 2, comes out this afternoon, so look forward to that also. Now, this is like, I don't know what happened yesterday because I started talking about farts a lot, right? But it has caused a stir in the community, and people are talking to me like they're bringing up farting stuff all the time to me. Like I'm the fart king. Remember, I was the fart king when I was younger. This is like 25 years ago. It is not now. All right, everyone, it is not now. I am much more mature. Oh, wait, let me think about that one, right? But I'm older. I got more experience. I know how to hide my farts. I'm getting all these calls and text messages. They said they were just laughing hilariously, like while they're listening to my podcast, because you're not going to expect on this podcast, like talking about farts and stuff, me being the fart king, whatever it is, right? But, I got to let you guys know that even for me being the fart king before, and still now, like I just hide it better. Like I fart all the time. Like it's a normal thing. And one of the, the best things I like is when you have like seats that have cushions in it, because you fart and it stays in the cushion. It doesn't get out. So stupid. Why am I talking about this again? Yeah. But let me just tell you guys why I probably have more gas than most people, right? So remember this. The average person the average is 13 to 21 times a day. That's the average person. Whether you're a guy or a girl, 13 to 21 times. Actually, this is kind of funny because I was talking about this the other day with some friends who listen to the podcast. And, they heard about the fart sermon and the average time someone farts a day. And I was like, yeah, everyone farts around 13 to 21 times a day. And the girls were looking at me like, very oddly, like, 13 to 20, like they couldn't figure out in their heads, have we ever done that many 13 to 21 times? And I can kind of see them try to calculate in their heads, like, I don't think I fart that many times in a day, right? And then I said, like, the most important part is, well, most of it's going to be in your sleep. And then all the girls collectively said, that makes sense, right? So, because, they're like, I don't remember, like, when do I, like, they couldn't comprehend 13 to 21 times a day. But then it's like, when most of it's in your sleep, then it makes a lot more sense. But then I was like going, man, like, I would hate to walk in your room at night because you've been holding in all those farts all day that just rot inside your stomach. And then when you're sleeping, you let out these huge gas bombs like a machine gun or whatever it is, right? And then if someone walks in your room at night and like they're going to start gagging, like, because it's so smelly in your room at night. Oh, gosh. Wait a second. Why am I talking about this again? I was going to answer a question. Okay. No, what do I say? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Why do I fart more than the average person, right? I know it. And I think this happens a lot with, I'm not sure if it's just Koreans or maybe Asians in general, but I'm lactose intolerant. But not like really, really bad. Like I can still drink the milk and the dairy products. I eat cheese and I drink milk every day. Like think about it, I get a latte every day, right? I eat cheese every day all the time. And I didn't know I was lactose intolerant until way later in life. And I weighed the pros and cons, and I thought to myself is like, come on. It's a latte. It's worth, the extra 12 farts that I have because of this. So, yeah. And guys, you got to know the reason why people don't call me the fart king anymore, because my gas is not loud, right? They're like all those ghost farts, the ghost, you can't see them. It's just silent, no sound, but hits hard, right? But hey, when you guys were young, did you guys ever have those sayings when people farted? Right? Like, like say for instance, if someone has like a ghost, like they call it ghost farts today, but they have one where, a ghost fart is like, it's silent because you can't see the ghost. But when you do, it's like, oh my God, the reaction's really loud. So it can be very smelly. But in my time, like if someone farts silent, but it's like a very smelly fart, we say silent but violent. You guys ever had those? If you guys ever heard that? Right? And if someone like, all of a sudden, imagine I farted. I know I farted. And then someone else goes, oh my gosh, who farted? We always say like, whoever smelt it, dealt it. That's what we said. Like those are these like little rhymes we said because it had to do with the fart culture that we were in. Right? And then they would turn around to me and said, whoever said the rhyme did the crime. Right? So it's kind of funny. Like no one else in that generation had those types of like fart jokes and stuff, that fart culture. No, very silent. This is a recording, but I can feel the silence right now. That it was like, no one, there's no such thing as fart culture. I guess it's gotta be with the guys. And I understand I've lost like 3/4 of my audience because 3/4 of my audience are girls, right? They're girls, so that I've lost 3/4 of my audience. And they're like, why are you talking about this? But you know what? That really makes me think myself too. Why I'm talking. Oh, you know what? Because farts have been on my mind the last 2 days, I started thinking about some old fart stories from the past. No, like deeper, not deeper, but like with Sunseam, like Sunseam fart stories. Like I'm not talking about when Sunseam like let out a huge bomb and then everyone started laughing, not like that, right? But I remember this when I was in Korea. There was this woman worker, and he was very, very dark, and his nickname, Sunseam gave him the nickname Gorilla because he looks like a gorilla, very strong, and he kind of had that gorilla face, like that head, right? Old member, and I used to talk to him. He's really, really friendly, but apparently he used to be super scary, like in the past, like really scary. And he actually used to be a gangster in the old days, right? And so that's why he was a gangster. And if there was a boss, super loyal, but really rough around the edges and character. Come on, he's like scary mean because he was a gangster, right? And this person was evangelized, and he basically took Sunseam as his boss, Like, he's a boss of this organization, so he's my boss kind of thing. He's super loyal, everything else. But since he was an ex-gangster, even though he respected Sunseem so much, he was rough, tough character, mean, scary looking, right? And what happened once was Sunseem put a suggestion box in Womenton. And people could put in their complaints or their suggestions in this complaint box. And one day, Sunseem calls Gorilla into his room. And he walks into the room. And Sunseem holds this huge amount of papers. And they're all complaints against him. Because he's either too rough, too strong, too mean, too scary. And because of him, people don't want to come to Wollongong anymore. Because of him. So Sunseem was really upset by this, and he started to rebuke him and just lay into him. What are you doing? This is God's, this is God's temple. You can't be mean. Why are people scared? Because, because of you, they don't want to come to Wollongong. And Sunseem was just laying into him. And at that moment, the gorilla was telling me, he's like, I was getting rebuked, and I had so much gas built up. I don't know why, but I couldn't hold it in any longer. And it was just this just fart comes out, right? In the middle of Sunseem's rebuke. And when Sunseem hears it, he stops. He smells it. And then he says, okay, that's enough. Get out. And then he said to me, he's like, he told me that this was a time his fart saved him from rebuke. And then he told me 3 other stories. The same thing happened. So, at that point I was going, wow, farts can bring salvation to people too, right? There's another story that I remember that I was actually moved by. I was moved by this. All right. So, I was evangelized by this person. He's no longer here anymore, but I was my evangelist. Right, this was way back in 1999. Sunseem came to visit America, and I was at that point I already passed. I was a new member, 4 months into Providence, and Sunseem came to the house. He started giving education, and he also brought a newcomer to see Sunseem. Right, so there's a newcomer plus me. I'm a new member. Right, so Sunseem was delivering the message. He's delivering the word, and as Sunseem delivering. We're really serious about it. We're writing the notes down, everything else. And then all of a sudden we hear this a big fart behind us. And we're, it's Sunseem speaking the word. So we are trying so hard to keep in our laughter, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, right? And I'm just writing notes and I'm keeping my head down so Sunseem doesn't see me snickering, right? Few minutes later, even bigger fart came out. And we all turned around and my evangelist puts his hand up sorry. So, all of us are dude, what are you doing during Sunseem's education, right? But guess what we found out later? Later we found out that the first fart was from the newcomer. And, this newcomer, even though no one knew who it was so embarrassed. And my evangelist looked at the newcomer and saw how embarrassed he was. So this evangelist decided to, he's praying God, give me a fart, right? Give me a fart so the newcomer wouldn't feel so bad. And my evangelist was the second fart, but everyone thought he did both. And after the education, the newcomer was so thankful. He was so embarrassed, but when the evangelist farted, he felt better about himself. And I was going, wow, farts are salvation. They can save lives, right? So not all fart stories are bad, guys. Farts can give salvation to and manage newcomers. Oh, gosh. Today's podcast is brought to you by X-Lax. No, I'm just kidding, right? So, yeah. So, I ended off this fart conversation in a very graceful way. So I hope you guys received a lot of grace from this too. How farts can bring salvation to people also, right? Guys, I know it wasn't that deep, but we had some good talks in the end of this. But I do want to tell you that the second segment today is going to be much deeper than this first segment. It will be, because it's a practical word study, and we're going to go over a mental exercise. excuse me, about the current situation that we're going through right now. And I think it's a good exercise too for all of us to think about also, and how much 2023 is going to change us, right? Gosh, I have something stuck in my throat. You know that feeling where you have something stuck there and you want to cough it out really hard because it's like you can feel it like moving around there, something like that. That's my feeling right now. But I hope you guys are all having a great week. There's a lot of different things happening, and I hope that we'll be able to make this week even better, putting the words of God into action. So let's go into our first break.
Please don't let me down, Lord. I know I can trust you with all my heart. So I'm on my knees, praying for you to always come through. Even if I pray all night, all I want is for your will be done. So I'm on my knees, praying for you to always come through. No, I'm not slipping through. No, I'm not falling down. The only thing that's falling is my knees on the floor. I'm praying, Lord, will you give me strength? Lord, will you give me power? I can't do this myself, so bless me in the morning hours. All the demons test me, but they will never shake me. If I pray, they hate me. If I pray, you love me. Connected with you is the only thing that matters. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. While I'm praying on my knees, I trust you with all my heart. For you always come through. For myself, for my family, for myself alone I pray. Please don't let me down, Lord. I know I can trust you with all my heart. So I'm on my knees, praying for you to always come through. Even if I pray all night, all I want is for your will be done. So I'm on my knees, praying for you to always come through. I pray to never just settle for good when great is available. Who's the mastermind behind this mind? I give all the credit to God, that's why I'm back. They mad that I made it, I know that the Satans, they hate it. I keep working hard just to make progress. Now I'm on 10, trust is the process, ayy. Look at my efforts lately, I'm setting conditions daily. I'm praying on my knees, so bless me. Please bless me, please bless me. Tribulations always come and go, I will never stop, just always know your focus determines reality, stay solid, that's why I'm praying on my knees, I trust you with all my heart. For you to always come through. For myself, for my family, on myself alone I pray. Please don't let me down, Lord. I know I can trust you with all my heart. So I'm on my knees, praying for you to always come through. Even if I pray all night, all I want is for your will be done. So I'm on my knees, praying for you to always come through. SB.
All right, so let's get into today's second segment, which is the practical word study, in which a lot of people really enjoy because, it's not interesting. It's because we're spiritual people, meaning people of faith, especially in Providence. The word is a number one thing for us, and because of that, we really, really want to understand the word better. We want to, whether it's understanding what the word says, or trying to figure out how to put it into action. It's a really important thing for us because we're all trying to live according to God's will and God's purpose, right? And that has to do with this week's message, because one of the things that really struck me is you have to think to yourself is, are you really living towards your purpose or God's purpose? And I thought to myself is, what would really help us to understand ourselves better, right? And I was doing a little bit of research, and especially because we're living in a time where it's extreme tribulation. That's what we're going through, right? Extreme difficulty, extreme adversity, extreme hardship, whatever you want to call it. We'll just say for now, extreme adversity or whatever it is, right? We're going through that right now, and going through all the research about people going through extreme adversity, I realized for this mental exercise that one of the things we're all looking forward to or thinking about is what will be the outcome of 2023? What's going to be the outcome of it? How is this year going to change the outcome of your life, right? And I want to talk about you personally, right? Not like you gaining a ton of money or you all of a sudden getting a better job. That's how God's going to... No, I want to talk about you yourself, the character. What's going to happen as the outcome of 2023? And doing this research, there's two big things that came out of this research of how adversity reveals things about us, right? And we're able to check ourselves with these two things. When extreme tribulations come in our lives, what are some things that will happen because of that tribulation? Number one is, I think this is a very, very important one that all of us can now check. It's a perfect opportunity because we're going through extreme tribulation, is it reveals your motivation. Through this time, you're going to see exactly what motivates you. What is motivating you right now? What is your purpose, right? Finding what is making you do these things. So what happens with these tribulations that come in front of us, they illuminate your motivations, right? So that we're going to be able to see exactly why we're doing it. So when times are really bad and really good, when it's at the extreme, you can confront these motivations and thoughts a lot easier. But when things are in the middle, we kind of just say the thing everyone's supposed to say. Because it's a neutral time. Not anything bad's happening. You don't have to prove it, right? There's no proof. Like if someone says to you, what's your motivation? Oh, it's God and this history of God. It's about my faith. Oh yeah, it's about, I will follow until the end of time kind of thing, right? People can all say that in the regular times. But the proof comes when the most difficult tribulations and hardships come. That's when all of it is illuminated and you will be able to see it in yourself. Why are you doing it? Is it because you want to be a better person? Is it because of God? Is it because of this history? Is it financial? Is it because of money? Is it because of the opposite sex? Is it because of greed? Like there's so many different reasons that motivate us, but during this time, you will find and your motivation will be revealed to you during this time. And yeah, if you haven't really thought about it, think about your thought process during this time of tribulation. You're going to see why you're doing this. This extreme time is going to help you see your own true motivation, what makes you move. Because if it's people who left, you'll see why they left, right? If it's people who are struggling, look at the thoughts you're struggling with. Because it starts off with, oh, well, if this is true, then I'm just going to do this. Oh, well, if this is true, then I'm going to just do this. Or what is your motivation? Oh, this is the history of God. Oh, this is God's history. I believe I'm doing this because I believe in God. I'm coming with pure intentions, right? What is your motivation? And during this time, reflect on your thought process. And you're going to figure out what your real motivation is. Remember this, guys. Tribulations illuminate your motivations. The second thing is quite interesting too. When you go through extreme tribulation, it makes you change for better or for worse. There's no other way. You can't be in the middle because it's that extreme. And I think you guys have already seen it, whether in yourself or the people around you. So when you're in extreme tribulation, it means your back is against the wall. There's no other way to move. You have to do something. There's no more ways to move back anymore. You have to confront all these things that are coming your way, and you have to make a decision. And when you hit extreme tribulation, change is going to happen for better or for worse. What does that mean? Well, when your back is against the wall, you have one choice, which means be better. You have no choice Because as these things are coming towards you, you have to make up your mind that I will endure. I will, because there are really extreme things coming at you. I will endure. I will persevere. I will, become better. And you'll be able to overcome these things, right? You'll have to, muster up your strength and say, you know what? This stuff is crazy and I got to break through this. And you're going to become better for it. Your actions and your thoughts will be better. Or, obviously, for better or for worse, which means when your back is against the wall, you may become worse. You let yourself go. And you become even worse than how you were even before you came into this history. You'll see it. Look at the people in this, look at the reactions people have during this time of chaos, and you're going to see some people who've become really strong. They're dug in. And you're going to see some people who become really, I'm not talking about what they believe, but their actions and their words are so bad, the way they do it. You're going one way or the other. My example is, I know some people who've never cursed and sworn before, but now all of a sudden they do even more extreme things. They're cursing people out, right? They're getting super angry and emotional about something. You either go one or the other. You're for better or for worse. Because even if you make the decision to go on the other side, what happens is it's very, very easy to do things in a calm way. Instead of, you got to leave, you got to do this, oh, I can't believe this, oh, and this happened, and this happened. It's not the right way. You either go better or worse. Which means what? What does this mean, this mental exercise? This mental exercise is about, if we are right or if we are wrong by the end of this year. Right? That's the mental exercise I'm putting forward to you right now. This adversity is going to help us discover ourselves, our motivations, and what our actions are pushing towards, better or worse, right? And you can catch yourself. Now, the mental exercise I'm going to give to you right now is, at the end of the year, if we're right, like the people of faith, this is untrue. Sunseem is innocent, whatever it is. If we're right, right? And then, of course, the other side is, what if we're wrong? And remember, this is just a mental exercise. So in this mental exercise, whether we are right or wrong, I'll tell you one thing is, you will be better for it if you endure and if you endure, persevere this whole year, you will be better for it in the end, regardless of the outcome. Now, what does that mean? What? But what if we're wrong? And let me tell you the two reasons. Let me tell you the reasons why in this mental exercise that no matter what, you'll be better for it if you hold on until the end of the year. Now, one of the things that when it comes to extreme tribulation, there is a role that it plays in shaping your character when extreme adversity comes. And it builds something called resilience, which is similar to endurance, right? But resilience is a little bit more than endurance. Endurance is how much can I endure before I fall over, right? Resilience is the ability to get back up, which is huge. So extreme tribulation allows the very important character traits that come through resilience. Remember, it's like you trying something, you fall over, you get back up. And then you fall over, you get back up. And if you have extreme resilience, you keep getting back up. If you don't have resilience, you fall down and you stay on the ground. It's kind of like what the Bible says in Proverbs, right? Though the righteous man falls down 7 times, gets back up 7 times, and the wicked, they remain on the ground, right? They just give up, right? The righteous will get up every time. That's resilience. And when you build this resilience through this tribulation that we're going through, psychologists tell us that once you have resilience, there's 2 things that happen to you, right? Or actually 3 things. 3 results from you being resilient. 1 is through resilience, you become more brave and bolder because you've been through it before. Oh, I've been through this, I can get back up. Oh, I've been through this before. And you're more boldly going into these difficult situations, and you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, what should I do? But instead you're like, no, I've been through this before, and you're bold. You get back up And you get on that horse and you're like, no, I'm expecting to fall over a couple times. Let's go. The second thing that is built in your character through resilience is you become more level-headed. So you're calm. In the difficult times, you don't emotionally react. You become level-headed. And when you're level-headed, what happens? In most situations, when someone says fire, everyone screams and starts running towards the doors. But that causes more injuries and more people will die. And that's why you have someone like a leader in the leadership level, very level-headed. Very level-headed. They don't panic. They're like, hey guys, the fire's on this side. Everyone, please make a single file on this side of the room, and I will not leave until all of you are out. People calm down when you have that person who's very level-headed. And through resilience, what happens? We are building building that leadership skill of being level-headed even in the most difficult situations. Right? You got to think about it. Remember March 12th, that first 2 weeks of all that stuff happening? How many of us were freaking out? That we needed someone to say, calm down, guys. Let's be reasonable. Let's be rational. Let's wait out for this, and this. And we needed it, right? And we're building the resilience right now. So the two things like we have is, of course, you become bolder and braver, and you become more level-headed. But the third thing I think is a really, really important part of us building our resilience is having the ability to move on from very painful circumstances. And that's a very important one for all of us. Sometimes we have painful circumstances that we're going through even right now, but when you build your resilience, you are able to move on from very painful circumstances. And that's what's building in all of us right now during this year of 2023. So I'm telling you right now, regardless of the outcome, you will be better for it. If you wait, if you hold, you're bold, if you endure, if you persevere, if you're resilient, if you handle this in this way, regardless of the outcome, you'll be better for it at the end of 2023. Why? Well, let's just say we're right. If we are right, this is mental exercise. If we're right, we all know Sunstein said all the other different things. Then we endured, we went through, we built our character. We became more resilient. We're more bolder. We became people that were strengthened in our character. But what about if we're wrong? How can you still say that, enduring and stuff, what if we're wrong at the end? Even if we're wrong at the end of the year, remember, mental exercise, I'm not saying we are. Even if we're wrong, we did it the right way. So we still built, just like I talked about before, we endured. We built endurance, we built perseverance, we built our resilience. All these big benefits come to our character. And then on top of it, we did it the right way. What does that mean? We didn't jump on the media bandwagon. We didn't just all of a sudden instantly judge Sunstream right off the top when we heard the first sign of, oh my gosh, look at this stuff. Oh my gosh. No, we didn't do that. Let me ask you guys this. One of the most unjust things that we go through is when someone accuses us and then everyone thinks we're guilty and they have no idea what the full situation, or they only listen to that person. That's one of the most unjust things. We hate that when people are unjustly accused and then everyone jumps on them and saying that, oh, you must be. It happens in high school all the time. It's so unjust. We hate that. Even if we're wrong, do it the right way. Build your character. Let all these things make your character that much better. Don't change for the worse. Reveal, know your motivations, and as long as your motivations are good and pure, we're not doing it wrong. We didn't prejudge. We didn't assume. We waited for all evidence to come out, and that's the proper way. We waited for due process, which is the proper way, and you won't regret it. Regardless of I'm just saying pretend. Let's just pretend in mental exercise. Imagine we are wrong. Even the people who are like, we told you so, we told you so. Regardless if they're right or wrong, they did it the wrong way. They did it the wrong way. Like I said to you before, someone came to me and the very first thing they said to me was, oh, the smoking gun is the Netflix audio. Wait for it. Oh, it's really bad. And I listened to it. And then we got the forensics coming out, and it's not good. So here are people saying that the smoking gun is the Netflix audio, but already we have so much that is kind of like saying that, we don't know if we can even trust that. They couldn't wait for that information to come out, but they're just going to say that, oh my gosh. So if they based it on that, and today the courts are still arguing whether it's even acceptable or not because it was manipulated. The forensics are saying that it's possibly manipulated. I would say that's the wrong way to do it because they based it on half information. It wasn't proper. What is the best thing to do? The best thing is endure, persevere, build your resilience, and regardless if we're right or wrong, we've done it the right way. No matter what, we will be better for it at the end. No matter what. No matter what. And that's why, for me, it's not about who first said, oh my gosh, who first. No, that's not the issue. Right? It's about the outcome and the process. Regardless of what the outcome is, in the end, right or wrong, we'll get to see it in the end, right? I'm not talking about like the court verdict or anything like that. But in the end, we get to see that. Secondly, it's not just about the ends justify the means. Regardless if you're right or wrong, your actions in the process will be judged if it was right or wrong. And they're not going to be justified just because you've won the case. It's not going to be justified. I'm talking both sides. Both sides. If we are right, it doesn't mean that all the people on the other side deserved all the criticism and you saying gossip and saying like terrible things about them or saying bad things about the other side. That's not done the right way. On the flip side too, if we're wrong, right? Same thing. It's not just, the process is not justified for them to say that, oh, see, we told you so, even though they made it at a very hastily decision at an early time when not even all the evidence was out. It was all based on hearsay where no one saw it. No one literally saw it. Like we also know that, KJS, who is the closest to Sunstein, she said she never saw anything, but she just believes. It's hearsay. And that's why we have to understand, the ends do not justify the means. And the means do not justify the ends. If we want to do it right, both have to be right. Our process getting to that point of understanding has to be right, and the ending has to be right at the same time. That's real character. That's real. And I hope that all of us here can understand that too about ourselves. This is life. These things are going to come up. And are you going to be ready for it? Is your character made ready for it? Or are you just going to fall over and say, oh my gosh, what's my life? And that's why we have to be those that understand like these mental exercises are really good. Illuminating our motivations. Seeing our actions. Are we going for the better or for the worse? Understanding what this endurance is doing for our character and what's the outcome of 2023 individually is going to be for us. And like I said, regardless if we're right or if we're wrong, the best thing to do, the process we're going through is not to gossip about people, not to say bad things about other people either. It is to endure, to persevere, to build the resilience so that we can be better for this in the end. That's the best way. In the end, whoever has done something wrong, everyone will pay for it, regardless of what side you're on. Everyone will. And I hope it's something that we will understand about ourselves, about our character. All right? So I'm glad this came out a lot deeper than the fart talk in the first segment, right? But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this practical word study, which means we'll go into our second break.
Sincerely I pray, please forgive all my sins. Please forgive me, Please don't leave my side. Take me as your own. If alone I wander, death will carry me away. My heart, it burns anxiously. Won't you, Lord, wash my sins away? Lord, if you make me clean. I'll live my life only for you, my Lord. I will give my life to you. I'll live by your word alone, loving you, Lord. I will fulfill rapture through love, and for all time I will live always by your I'll live my life only for you, my Lord. I will give my life to you. I'll live by your word alone, loving you, Lord. I will fulfill rapture through love, and for all time I will live always by your side. I'll live my life only for you, my Lord. I will give my life to you. I'll live by your word alone, loving you, Lord. I will fulfill rapture through love, and for all time I will live always by your side, and for all time I will live always by your
All right, so let's get into our final segment for today. And of course, today is Provi in the media, and just a couple of articles that I want to go over so that we can just kind of get an idea of what is going on right now in the media world about what is happening over there, especially in Korea. You know, in other countries, it's not as bad. But of course, Korea is where it's terrible, right? So let's first get into some updates about. So we know that, of course, there's sensitive trial going on right now. And then we have the accomplice aiding and abetting trial, which is like KJS and like 7 other people, right? And that first trial is probably going to be it's going to be next month. I think June 13th or June 20th, something along that line. I forget what it was. But also the third case that was filed in February was the money embezzlement case. And there's a couple of new things that have come out a little bit. And remember, I'm not going to sit here saying that, oh, this is terrible, this is bad. I'm just going to say this is kind of what the information that's coming out right now. And it has to do with KJS and L. Jung. L. Jung, his original name is Kwon Pyongyang. Okay, that's his original name. Okay, so the next things that have come out right now is how did they purchase all the $5 million in real estate, right? And when they were buying the real estate, you have to write down where your income comes from. So the income proof is a company called Good Morning World that KJS and L. Jung both have together. And it's a multi-level marketing project, right? So no one knew about this either. Even for me, being together with KJS and stuff like that, I've never heard of it. So KJS and L. Jung proved their income through a multi-level health supplement business and use that in the process of purchasing borrowed name real estate worth millions of dollars. And that's why suspicion was raised. So what do you mean by borrowed name real estate? Which means that they used not just KJS's name, but they used her younger brother's name. They used L. Jung's name, and other people, like close family and friends, were used in the purchase from this one company, right? So there was an informant, and the informant claimed that L. Jung and then KJS's younger brother may have used a multi-level business as a means of proof of income in the process of acquiring real estate worth about $5 million. And purchasing the real estate was acquired by borrowing the names of her close friends and family. And KJS's close associates made money to use personal and like this is where the suspicion comes in. So we don't know if it's true or not. But they made money to use personal donations and sermon tour offerings from unknown sources as one of the means for proof. And it was claimed that this multi-level marketing company, Good Morning World, was used. So it's basically just saying that this is the proof of income, that how can they buy this many properties and such worth $5 million. The proof was this company called Good Morning World. And they're saying that this company could possibly be used, and they're going to obviously go deeper into the investigation of all the money that was collected when it came from, whether it's donations, could be from like her father's funeral, it could be from her touring, whatever it is, and they'll funnel it through that company, and then they'll use it to, they're going to use it to buy those properties kind of thing. So that's just kind of the newest revelation coming out that they're investigating more into. So please pray for it so that all truth will be revealed, right? So, for us, all we know is that's the information, and we move forward after this. There was another article about the producer of the Netflix documentary. He did an interview, and it was just quite interesting. And you obviously know he's pro for the people he's doing a documentary for, but he also admits a couple of things. He says, we know that the sensationalism controversy has arisen. So he knows that, people are saying that they're over sensationalizing all the evidence and trying to make it bigger than it really is. And then he said that, but then he says that, but the important thing is that all of these things are true, right? And that's why he's saying that this content needs to be known. And he said something, I don't quite understand what he means, but he says the level has to be lowered by 1/10 of the level. I'm not sure what that means, but this is in his interview. But one thing I found very, very interesting is one thing he was asked about was the 1-minute transcript that was released as soon as it started, which means that's the Netflix audio. And of course, people are saying it's disgusting or difficult, but the producer said that he made the first minute thinking that the religious group would see it. And then he said, I wanted people for just 1 minute to shake their faith and ask the question, is he really the Messiah? Right? So that was his purpose of putting that Netflix audio in the beginning of the episode, like as an intro for it. And a lot of people are like, come on, like, why would you put that in the beginning of, like, it's kind of just, like that's what they're saying, it's disgusting. That why would you put that at the very, very beginning, that Netflix audio kind of thing, right? So basically his whole reason for doing it, he's saying, I want people in Providence to listen to it and just for 1 minute doubt. That was his whole purpose for it, right? So, that his purpose is, if you think about that, the purpose is no longer a documentary of, revealing truth. He's very emotionally changed. Like, I want to get people out of there kind of thing. So it's very interesting in that documentary, that interview with the producer. Last but not least, there was another article about Sunsteam's lawyers, right? And I said there was 4 people remaining. Actually, there's 6 people, right? So in the legal community, so this is in the news too, there was a dismissal of one of the attorneys. I talked about that last time. But on the same day, there was another lawyer also that submitted a resignation, right? So the dismissal means that, like, Sunstein would actually fire that person, and resignation means that that person themselves wants to leave as a lawyer, right? So what we know, like, if we want to know exact numbers, from the very beginning there were 14 lawyers, right? But in March, of course, the lawyers from the big firm, they left because of the public scrutiny and stuff. And then, so there's 14, and I think we know that either 2 or 3 left, which means that there's like 4, like either 5 or 6 from the big firm. So they all left together because they're from the same firm. And then 2 or 3 either have been fired or have resigned. So there's still 6 lawyers left. So those are the numbers we see now, which is like the official numbers. Okay. So that is something that I think that all of us do need to pray for even more. And, if anything else, our big prayers go out to finding out what is absolute truth. Like, that's the big thing we want, is what is truth? What is, we want to know, we want everything to be revealed so that by the end of it, everything can be resolved. And, I do think that don't ever forget these prayers. Pray for Sunstein. Pray for his lawyers. There's only 6 right now, which is still a lot. There's 6 lawyers. Pray for the lawyers. Pray for the prosecution. Pray for the accusers. Pray for the judge, right? And of course, we have now the 2 new trials going in. One is for money embezzlement by KJS, El Jung, and some others. And then, of course, is the accomplice aiding and abetting that will start from next month too. So these are a bunch of things that we need to pray about. And remember, we're not there to judge in our prayers. But Sunstein said the greatest prayer to judge, or the greatest prayer, or the scariest prayer we can do is repay them according to what they have done. That is the scariest prayer, all right? So I hope this kind of gives you a little bit more updates of what is going on. There's nothing really major that went on, but we do know that the Netflix audio, whether it'll be accepted or not, that we don't know yet because it was a closed court trial for that. So we have no idea what actually happened. Maybe they'll do another trial for that. But next month, in June, the next trial, which will be the 11th trial, it'll be Sunsteam's witnesses on Sunsteam's side. Those witnesses will take the stand. So let's pray for all the witnesses also too. Okay. So there it is, guys. That is all the news for Provi and the media. I hope it's something that you guys gain a lot for, and we can also pray better, knowing the situation even more. And I hope that all of you guys will have an amazing, awesome Tuesday. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, I'm on the Morning Star Drive, I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, I'm on the Morning Star Drive.